Guys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, it's BTC Gambler back again. Listen, I've got so much to tell you. So much has gone on during this week that I'm not even sure where to begin. But basically, in a nutshell, I attempted to do the version 4 of the dual code and it didn't quite work out so well for me. In fact, I lost quite a bit of money. But that's life, isn't it? That's gambling. I analysed the figures. After crunching all the numbers, I came to the conclusion that there was a 636% increase in risk. There was a massive improvement in wagering. It was a 448% improvement in wager, and the profit was 31,707% improved. So it was worth the risk, but it didn't quite work out for me, guys. I think I lost about 45,000 TRX in that process. And live and learn. I've kind of not abandoned the idea. We was discussing with FemisX about alternative models, and I came across this video I want to share with you. I want to just share this video with you. I was looking for new ideas, actually. Yeah, it was this video here. I put the video link in my description so you can have a look at it. But the basic principle was it's on Roulette. This guy is adamant he makes a daily living from home, working from home, just playing this one particular strategy. Well, he's got two strategies. I quite liked it. His idea is that he said he had a start balance of $217 and he was doing $1 hands. I could tell you now, you would not do that. You will lose that instantly. But taking his ideas and principles. So his idea was that if you take the three main sections, the first 12, the next 12 and the next 12, so that pays out 1.58. So what he was doing, he was putting down $1 on two of them, and if it failed, he trebles it. So the next bet would be $3, and then $9. Yeah, does it make sense? So it's quite risky, but in total his next bet would be $6 and such forth. So because he'd be putting $3 there, $3 there, and when it wins, he would take the column that won and move position. So say for example he won here, he'd go back to his base bet and he'd bet here and here and keep trebling down until he gets a win, and he goes back to base bet, and if this one won here, then he'd do here and here. So I wanted to know whether I could code that, and I'd be pleased to know I have. So I've written it in JavaScript to run an Alphaverse, and I've called it Roulette Martingale. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. And in order for me to show you, I probably will need to pause an account. Bear with me a second. See which one I've got open. Right, so it's this account here. I'm going to pause it because I just got up to gold level, and I'm going to show you the betting. If I go to bets, refresh this because I found it's a little bit laggy, and I'm going to go back. Yeah, let's start here. We'll start at the bottom here. So it's betting in roulette 0.01 of 1 TRX on the first columns, and it won here. Because this won, it should bet here and here, so also won as well. So if we just double check that the code is correct, it bet there and there, and it bet 1. Now that lost, it should treble down so that it should put $3 there, or 3 times the amount, which it has done, and it doesn't stay position. And if it loses again, then it's like, yep, 3 times again. So we're now 900 per, and then it went up, it triples up. You can look at the maths there, and eventually it won, and it won here, and then that should go back to base bet, and it should be betting 1 here and 1 there, which is exactly what it's done. This, guys, was really quite tricky to code. In fact, I highly encourage you to go and watch the video, but got it working, and I am running it at the moment, and we're doing okay. We're setting a recovery pot of 2,600. It's been running for 1 hour 49 minutes. I nearly got the first recovery pot back. Now, I did make one other change, which is really important, and that has affected a lot of people because this can crash quite frequently. This highlighted the issue here, where many people would notice if they run in Alphaverse that sending multiple pots to the same account on a crash can be problematic, and I've discovered what the problem is, and I've updated it here, and it was this line of code that was responsible for it. So basically, if it busts, it was set to just wait 30 seconds before saying, I haven't got the recovery pot yet, send me another one. But when you think about how money is transferred, you know, it has to withdraw from the vault that uses a two-factor token. Then it has to wait 30 seconds to get a new two-factor token, and sometimes that doesn't quite work, and sometimes it can take quite a while. Sometimes, yeah, a couple of minutes. And 30 seconds was way too short. Adjusting this now, it's set to 2.5 minutes, has massively made a great improvement, and it stops these multiple bus requests being sent out, and that has definitely solved the issue. By the time this video goes live, this roulette code will be in Discord, and I put it on Alphaverse as well, but there will be an update obviously to Alphaverse, and you're going to have to run a git pull, or if you just copy down the index.js file, you can just deploy it however you want to deploy it. But basically this solves this multiple requests for the pot, which is going to make life so much easier. I'm quite excited about this code. The start balance is 40 per account. It has a bust threshold of 25, and it has a recovery pot of 2,600. I did try it with 1,800, and I ended up getting 3 crash bots. I managed to recover them all, but it was a bit uncomfortable. Adjusting it to 2,600 has brought along an extra level of stability. Really now it's just playing it out as we go along now. I created multiple videos on this, guys, but I tell you what, I'm not even going to bother showing them because they'll be boring, okay? Because all of it led here. I've moved away from dual code now. I'm now using Roulette. Highly go and watch the video that I put in the link in the description. You know, I have every expectation at some point to lose a recovery pot, but providing we win more than we lose, that's all good. See all these busts they can build up? It does bust quite frequently, but it does seem to manage quite well now, and we don't get these duplicate pots being sent to the same account anymore. That change to the client index.js has made a massive difference. So I suppose the best thing for me to do now is just leave you to watch it. I'm just going to time lapse this now, and yeah, I'm going to give this sufficient time so you can see it in action, and I'll be back. Guys, I'm back. Listen, you know, we're all human at the end of the day, so I realised I made a fundamental mistake, and I'm glad I made the mistake and it happened to me and not to you. I'm glad I found these things out before I made this code public. So yeah, something dawned on me when I was comparing the bets and the next bet amount. They didn't match through to Excel, and it absolutely dawned on me because let me show you something. Sometimes I feel like an idiot. Like I'm not being harsh on myself. I'm just being honest. So I'm you know, sucker for me. I'm like this one here. Like here, we look at the bets. When I was doing a spreadsheet originally, I was calculating out obviously what the minimum bet size should be. Let's say for example 003. But because you're betting on 2 places, that would have been double that amount, and I was massively out. Massively out. I've now changed it, you know, just if I want to bet the minimum amount, this is the formula that we need to put in there. So if I put in there ×2, and I did test this manually and it works absolutely fine. You can bet below the minimum providing the total bet amount is that. So you could do 0.0003015, but on 2 locations. So if we go back to, because we're betting 2 locations, I didn't have that in my formula, so it was double the amount, and it was throwing the numbers out completely. So like I've lost a lot of money messing around with this, but it's my own fault. So I've adjusted it now. I've fixed it. There'll be a spreadsheet out. This is going to be changed to Roulette Calculator, because in here the base bet multiplier is that to get to, but then it's times 2 because you've got to remember you're betting in 2 different locations, and providing that hits the minimum bet threshold, which is 0.003, then the maths can hold out. And we can look at the validity checker on this one here. I said if we put a recovery pot of 6,500, which I could just about muster together based on what damage I've left myself. I haven't had much luck on dual code V4, and I haven't had much luck on this either. Yeah, go into these projects with your eyes wide open, guys. Eyes wide open. Yeah. I'm not completely out, but I tell you, getting very close to the stage where I might have to deposit, and I have not deposited for such a long time. I have actually forgotten the last time I made a deposit to the casino. This has all been on free money, so it grate me having to spend some of my crypto. Anyway, right, this will cover us up to 16, which we haven't seen. And I want you to understand the way that this actually works. You'd have to get to minus 16. As you can see, you'll see when it gets to this 16th bet, there's not enough funds in the balance to actually do the 16th bet. So they'd have to hit 15, lose, and then go to the 16th. And the odds and the probability of that happening and reaching minus 16 is 43 million to 1, which, as you all know, that's not the best of odds. Anything sort of below 100 million to 1. But I'm willing to test it anyway because, I mean, all the whilst I've run it, I've never seen a minus 16. That doesn't mean it can't happen, though. And looks like that minus 15 would have won the next one. So, yeah, which is really frustrating. That snuck in a 0 bet somehow. Or a base bet, not a 0 bet, but a base bet. And that doesn't know that because the code wants to do the next bet. This number's completely wrong, by the way. I need to look at that as well because bet size, that is completely wrong. Yeah, it needs to be double that because we double the base, because I know why. I know exactly why. And I know how to fix this as well. So here's a new version 3. I'm not going to make, when we log right to the stats file, because it's only, login information. It's not actually, when we write into the stats file, it's only taking consideration the bet size of the thing. So we need to times that by 2, and then it will display the correct output. Okay, so I've restarted that. So I believe now that will display the bet size correctly in the stats file because it's obvious there's 2 bets you're placing. It's twice the bet amount. The reason it's 009, it obviously must have done a quick bet. It must have lost. All looks good. Right, guys, version control is very important for me when I'm betaing. Like, this is beta. This is obviously riddled with bugs. So, yeah, I'm mining them out at the moment. I don't think there's any more now. I think I'm pretty confident I've caught them all at my own cost. And anything that is beta always starts with 0. It's only when we get to major releases. Yeah, I don't think I've ever explained that properly to everybody, but yeah. If we're doing like revisions of this, we might be 3.3.1, 3.3.2 and such forth. Anyway, we need to kind of get in habit of making sure that version control, and that's managed through the obscurely named stage, and that was the reason it was in there is because that was there to check which stage you was in when you were running Infinity code, and it went red if it took when it was in version stage 2. Obviously I don't want to change all of the Alphaverse code so it says version, but just know that within the code that the word stage is the same as the word version. So here, stage there. So that gets presented through on the web page as version. It used to say stage, but changed that to version now. I suppose the next step for me really is, because I want to conclude this video, this has been a bit of a hectic week. It's been quite a painful week as well, to be honest with you. And I'm going to change all this over. I would love to be able to get this button working, actually. I might have a crack at it. Actually. It emits to every client. It sends an emit command, and that emit command will tell it to run something. So if we look at the code. So this is the code on the server here. So when you click the button update client, it sends to all clients. It emits update, execute update. And if we look at the client index, here we're telling it to, when it receives that on every client to run an update, it runs what's in the update client.sh. And if we look at the update client.sh, and I think this is part of the reason where it's falling over. All this is saying is pick up the name of the server from the client config, so it's going to be your server. So using JQ, it extracts the sudo password from the client config and stores it in the sudo underscore password variable. And it also picks up the API server using JQ as well from the client config, so it's got the sudo password and the server, because the API server is basically on your server. And then it's going to set the path, obviously change script. We're using variable %home, and then it should just cd into that folder, echo out the sudo password, and then it should use an SSH pass copy, so SCP copy from the user and API server under the home folder, under the user, under BTC Gambler, not BTC, Alphaverse Live, bin, change script there. So whatever we put on the server, so basically, and then it will copy that and it will just run that. So it just runs that. So if we look on the server, yeah, looking at the code now, I can see why it's not working actually. So it's looking for a file called change.sh. And I suppose, provided you're good enough at scripting, you should be able to run this. You should run whatever's in this change.script. So actually, I had it under the share folder, and that probably explains why it doesn't work. Well, this will be very, very, very interesting if I can get this work simply by changing location. Guys, I'm back. You're going to love this. You're going to absolutely love this. Many hours have passed. So it was on version 2 of the code, which had lots of errors. Today, the week's been full of errors actually. Anyway, there's been some neat updates to Alphaverse, which I'm going to commit tonight. And on there'll be this roulette code, but there's going to be the change. It's just been the improvement in the way that it handles shifting recovery pots, and it's much better now. It's solved that multiple recovery pots been sent. But the big one I want to show you now, with version 0.2 of the code. What I could do, with just a little bit of simple scripting, I could log on to each server manually and just run these commands. You're just using, all I'm telling it to do is move to the Alphaverse folder, using SSH pass to copy down the v3 of the Roulette Martingale into the client folder, and I'm going to use and search and replace in the package.json file to replace Roulette Martingale with Roulette Martingale version 0.3. These need to be exactly matched, and restart Alphaverse. And I could log on to each box and do that individually, or once you run the latest Alphaverse and you run a git pull, you get all these updates. Or you could just put the commands in here and then the bin folder under Alphaverse file where it says change.sh. Instead of running it manually, you just put those commands in here. And obviously I can't open this, but it is identical to that. It's just that it's got my password in it. You just have to take my word for that. So I want to go from version 0.2 to version 0.3. This button here, update all clients, it's going to run those commands. If I click that and click yes to update all, now you watch this, guys. They'll all start coming back, and you'll see it will like snake its way through. Starting to come through 0.3, 0.3, and you can literally at this point here follow it down. How neat is that? You like this, guys? This is going to make life so much easier. And bear in mind, you can get it to run anything in there. Like if I wanted to, example, get it to send the vault to everybody, I could just change the command to node client and send vault, and then to the name of the client that I want to send it to. I can pretty much get it to do anything. It's whatever you can script. If you wanted to update your machines so that you got latest version of Ubuntu and you want to patch it, you could just put it in there. You can run anything in there. Whatever you can script, you can basically now do with that button there. is whatever you decide to put in this change.sh, because it copies it down from the server each time it runs. There had to be multiple updates to get this working, guys. So yeah, I want to show you some of the changes whilst that's doing that. I mean, yeah, all these ones here, so these with updates and modifiers, these are waiting to be committed to. So the first one, I had to create a blank change.sh, and it says doing nothing. Doing nothing. I have to update the run Alphaverse scripts as well, and the reason was because this had a kill all screen in it, so that threw me for ages, and I now got it to individually kill the client screen, because the way this is going to work, you'll see in a moment, is that in the index.js file, this went, when you click the button, it sends an emit to the client, and the client picks it up, and it's on here, socket on execute update. So when it receives the execute update, which it emits from the server, it runs these commands, and basically what it's doing, it's creating spawns off a new screen called updater. And the reason we had to do that is because if you don't do that, this runs in the client screen, and you need to restart the client screen. So it took me ages to work that out and getting the syntax right for this, and I also want it to quit when it's done as well. So this command here basically says I'm going to run the update client script in a separate screen called updater, which then quits once it's finished. And I found I needed that quit because it runs once, but then you can't run it again afterwards. You end up with multiple screens. This works a treat. And the final update was the update client. Yeah, I'm not even sure what change I made there. I need to double check that. But these will be committed up to Alphaverse, as well as the code. This is version 0.3 of the code. This is Roulette Martingale. In here I put the link to the video that this relates to. So please go ahead and watch that. Just let me know what you think of it. It's quite a neat bit of code. So yeah, lots of changes have gone in there to make this, all the errors that I've made. Yeah, this is like ready to kick off really. So yeah, even should be displaying the bet size correctly now, hopefully. Totally unknown now how this is going to run. But I suppose I'll keep you posted, because this video can't go on forever. Let's leave it running for a little while, and I'll be back. Okay, I'll just bring it back. Been over the hour mark. So made 24.30 in an hour, which ain't bad actually when you think about that. Yeah, just bringing over the metrics. More importantly, guys, it's so much more stable. I've had to make many mistakes to get to where I am now. I have an estimation here that you need to be wagering around about 50 TRX an hour in order to get the $1,000 a week. It's hit and miss. We got some above it, some way below it, some way above it. We'll see how it pans out, because I think it all depends on where your max streak is. But this is so much more stable, guys. Yeah, I made so many mistakes, and I'm glad I made the mistakes and I felt the pain of them, and not you. So you'll be pleased to know. Oh yeah, I'm looking back at the numbers. So before we do go back, so if that continues at that rate, if that's making 24, let's turn this to dollars. This could make $583 a day. Not bad, guys. Not bad at all. If it continues at this rate. Now you'll be pleased to know I've pushed out the changes live to Alphaverse. This has been a crazy week for me. Crazy roller coaster ride. First the V4 code didn't quite work out for me. Then me trying the roulette code and making an absolute balls out of that and losing a lot of money. And finally get to where we are today. And in that process, I made a whole bunch of changes to Alphaverse that have now been committed to GitHub. And those big changes are in the index.js file. They're in update client. They're in the restart Alphaverse. And I added this blank change.sh because I wanted something there, because last thing what you do is if you accidentally click the button, I want it to do nothing. Yeah, so that'd be the default setting. So it's just going to echo do nothing, doing nothing. And I've uploaded the, run at your own risk. I've uploaded the Martingale V3 roulette. I mean, it's a really neat system, guys. I'd advise you, the video link to it is in the description here. So quite an interesting concept. And it's actually quite neat looking at this, because you can look at the code, in relation to the video, and you can see it behave. The way it's supposed to go here is like, if we look at this bit here, because this won, it was number 34. What it should do is then go back to its base bet, and realizing I was doubling down on the bet and I had all my spreadsheet wrong, and I'll attach to the video the new roulette version of the video that's going to complement this. Now what it should do is bet on here and here on the base bet, which should be 0.00015 in total of 3 TOX anyway. 003, which is the lowest you can bet at. If we look at the one above it, it's done exactly that, 0.0003. That makes sense here. So the total bet there, if you watch the video, this would make sense. The winning, in this section that's winning, we're betting here. We're betting here and here. Yeah, where it wins, we change where we bet through. So anyway, you can have a play around with this. The code is there. I'm going to add comments like this on the video to make life a little bit easier for you. So, obviously version control is really important, guys. The date that it was created as well. The author, start balance, I'm saying is in TOX, but you can retrospectively calculate out alternative currency. It is agnostic to the currency. But there is something odd about TOX that you probably are unaware of, is that it's a currency that I think it's the one that allows the lowest possible permissible bet. Don't think you can bet so low. You might hit the minimum bet level if you're using a different currency. Yeah, what the recovery pot size should be and what your bust threshold should be set to. When does it detect a bust? So I thought that would be useful information for saving you need to calculate it all, because I've done all that work already. Yeah, you can take that and just run with this information. So right now, obviously take a backup, guys. Very important to take a backup of your client config. Because if you run a git pull and it overwrites your client config and you haven't got a backup of that, there is no possible way to get that back. So we'll wait for this to recover. I'm very keen to get these changes over to you guys. You can start benefiting from them. This update button here is just going to be immensely useful. I'm going to use that. I'm going to write a script, which I'll put in Discord as well, which is going to send the vault, but it's going to have a random delay between 1 second and 60 seconds, so it doesn't overload, because I can imagine, if it emits and all try sending it all at the same time, Stake may have a bit of a hissy fit about that. So I'm just going to write a script and I will put that in Discord. Right, I'm ready to end this video. There was loads and loads of footage that I have not shared in this because it's not relevant and it's going to be too boring anyway, and I want to get straight to the point on this one. So please, your comments are really important to me, guys. Please like the videos, share them, subscribe to the channel. I'm really going to try my hardest to get my numbers up. So you'll see me using a lot of clickbait titles now. I really want to try and get my numbers up and viewership up. I got further things to announce, and they'll be coming up over the next sort of week or so. It's nice to see we've got new Alphaverse members coming in, so please be nice to them, guys. Be nice to them. We're part of a community. We work together. Without me waffling on too much, I'm going to end this video right here, right now. And there was much more to say, okay? But they will come out in other videos, and I'll speak to you all again very, very soon.